Surprise, surprise.
But you know, but Delta was already 6 pounds that early.
Yes.
So if you got a term, it probably would have been like 25 pounds. So probably a good thing. Probably a good thing.
Yes.
It's a blessing, right? Yeah. Okay.
Maybe good that she came.
Yeah.
So what's the order of
So yes, you're up front. So basically, let me open a prayer.
Yeah,
But then I basically put you up front.
Oh, okay.
So basically, you'll see it's your slides. I just keep them all the same format. So basically, it's your notes.
Okay, great.
Yeah, and then you're done. Then you can go upstairs, and then I'll do all the proof of the minutes. I'll take you. Usually I do this up front before the reports, but I'll get you in out here.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Yeah, no problem at all. So how my 3 favorite kids doing?
Pardon?
How my 3 favorite kids doing?
Right.
They're doing okay?
They are. They are.
Good,
It's been an odd weekend because everything's been rained out.
Yeah.
So we don't know what to do with ourselves.
But it's like we're not used. We're
not.
not used to actually having to
That much
find an
free
activity.
time.
Yeah, exactly.
We went and saw the Mario movie last night with them.
Yeah, I mean,
It was cute.
Yeah, I mean, I think Eddie went to go see it. He said it was fine. It was like.
It's definitely like geared towards little
Yeah,
kids.
yeah,
and stuff.
yeah. It's not like a Pixar movie which will have like themes for parents and kind of stuff.
And jokes for the adults. It really did
Yeah.
not. Who am I?
Deacon, this is
You're near the back, right after Bud.
right after Bud.
Yeah, so right there. Yeah. So I think your deaconess is first, deacons and Rich.
Are we asking for questions or not?
No, ask for questions. I mean, this should go pretty fast just by keeping it normal.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's why I want to make sure Brian doesn't rush it because it doesn't have to be. I mean, cause we can literally go to almost 11:15 if we had to, right? Or 11.
The choir usually warms up at 11.
Okay, all right. Let's kind of hum in the back. All right, no, I'll keep it. But I think we should. I mean, it's not a lot to do, right? I mean, yeah. Oh man. Oh, it's our softball game might get rained out tomorrow. Actually, wouldn't be a bad thing because apparently we're without our slugger.
I was gonna say Eric can't be there. He's
Right.
playing in a golf tournament in Harrisburg.
Oh, wait a minute. Golf before Jesus? I don't know
Well,
about that.
to be fair, I believe it's for the Pennsylvania Family Institute. One of his college buddies works for them, and they play in this tournament every
I'll
year.
let this one slide.
So it is like a for a good
fine.
cause.
That's fine. That's fine. So yeah, I think tomorrow's actually gonna be okay. Actually, it's kind of bummed because then it rains again on Tuesday, and I haven't cut my grass in like over a week. It's like going really bad. And I was like, okay, good, I'll cut it tomorrow. I was like, darn it, softball.
We have a neighbor who will comment, like nicely, but also a little pointedly, if we go too long without cutting the grass.
Put the softball game in here.
How are the newlyweds doing?
They're doing okay. They're doing fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're trying to book a vacation, a family vacation, like the Haas's do, to try to get together. So
To see everybody, yeah.
yeah, so trying to get that in place. Hopefully, yeah, I think we negotiated a place now. So now we just gotta make sure we book it.
You were trying Costa Rica, right?
Trying
and then
Costa
couldn't
Rica.
figure out how to get there.
Yeah, I figured it out because one was we're going during the complete off season. So that didn't do well for flights. And then two, I guess Costa Rica, I was telling Amy, actually has two big airports.
Airports, right.
And so the one we want to go to is the smaller. So you can
so
fly
it's harder.
direct into the big airport, but then
Okay.
you're like 2 hours plus from the resorts.
Yeah.
So, but maybe for Amy it's fine because I don't know where the Remus live.
Which
but
one?
yeah, which one they live near. All right, should I give him a 5-minute? Oh yeah. Hi everybody. We'll get started in 2 minutes. So if you can make your way into the sanctuary, we'll get started. Yeah. Hey Glenn.
trying with the lights. See if they'll get the memo.
You can always rely on Bob Borsanoa to flip the lights.
Yes.
Pastor B, don't wander away too far.
My significant other is one of the offenders. He's just standing in the dark chit-chatting. Didn't affect him at all.
All right, well, for punishment, no golf, has to play softball.
No golf softball only. And Resurgent's going to be a young team, I think. Because it's actually one of our high school buddies called Eric and was like, how do we get into that league? So it's like all players Eric's age, I would think.
So we should investigate the mercy rule. And
Right.
see how many
run.
before I go home and come on. At 20-0
Right.
second, can I go home?
We can call it.
Probably lose like 3 pitchers and they drill one up the middle. Like, they take poor Jim and Dennis out. All right. Good morning, everybody. Thank you all for joining us this morning for our congregational meeting. For those of you who may not know me, I'm Bill McGowan. I serve as the chairman of the executive board here, so welcome. As you can see from the agenda here, we have a packed agenda, but we should be able to get it all in within this time period before the next service. So as you can see, we're going to open in prayer. Then we're going to have Noah come up early because he has a bunch of youth waiting upstairs for him. So we're going to let him give his report and then skedaddle upstairs. We'll then do some of the logistics in terms of approving the minutes, voting on the nominating committee, and then we'll get into the reports. Right? We'll start with the treasurer report, then get to the staff, and then the various boards, and then we'll close in prayer. As you see, a lot of reports, they're going to be, again, what the pastoral staff, and the different boards have planned for the year. So you'll be able to get a little glimpse in terms of where they hope to go, and then you can also ask questions of them. So please ask questions. For those of you who are online, please email me or text me. I'll be checking my phone, and I'll ask you a question here live. So before we get started, let's all just bow our heads and go to the Lord in prayer. Dear Lord, again, we just thank you so much, Lord, for watching over this church, Lord, giving us all here the opportunity, to serve you, to impact our community, Lord, to help grow your kingdom here. So again, just bless this meeting, Lord, and help again just guide this church to honor you in all we do, and to again just grow your kingdom here on earth. It's in Jesus' name we pray, Lord. Amen. All right. So we'll get Noah up here. Noah will let you talk and tell us about all the great things you have planned for the youth.
Sure. Yeah. Yes. So a lot of you know it's been a pretty hectic few weeks for me. So I apologize if I'm a little scatterbrained here. But some of the goals that we have for the youth, most importantly, is we recognize the need that there needs to be a closeness in the community of students. These students, a lot of them go to different schools. A lot of them aren't very familiar with one another. So one of the goals is really to develop those relationships and those friendships. And youth group is a really good place to have those relationships and friendships as well. And if we're supposed to live out what Christ says his disciples should do in John 13, that you're going to know my disciples by the way they love one another, well, we have to build a better community within our own youth group in that way. And so the second part kind of goes along with that, which is deeper connections and conversations. This also stems and goes into the small group aspect of our youth group, where students will hear a message, they will be brought into small group, and they'll have conversations with leaders. And so we'll have conversations with our leaders of how to better interact with our students, how to better be involved in their lives and have real, serious, meaningful conversations to get to the meat of the conversation instead of sticking at the surface level. A lot of times it can be difficult to break those walls down, because kids often had a lot of walls up. They're used to spending most of their time on social media or not really paying attention to the real questions of life. So it's important that we break down those barriers and have those meaningful and fruitful conversations. And then the third one is guiding our students to develop a heart of discernment. So obviously, we live in a culture that tells them a whole lot of lies, tells them a whole lot of false truths, and they're seeing that in their schools, they're seeing that with their friends, they're seeing that on social media, they're getting bombarded from multiple places. So it's important that we spend time in youth group activities and conversations, that we talk about what the culture teaches, but also talking about what the Bible teaches, and ultimately pointing them towards truth. One way we do this is we have a question box for them. So if they have any questions about God, the Bible, or just life in general, they have the opportunity to ask those questions, and I will answer them within the next youth group next time we meet at youth group. And so this has been pretty fruitful. The students have been able to ask some really difficult questions, and we're very thankful to have this because it helps them to understand, well, there are answers for our faith. There are answers to what we believe, instead of just a blind faith, because the world, again, likes to teach that Christianity is just a blind leap of faith. There's no real substantial evidence for it. There's nothing that's really there that we can hold on to, but it's important to teach the students that there is, especially as they go out into a world after they graduate. And so the last one is developing a rebrand for the youth group. This is something we've talked about, I've talked about in the past, but just setting a new tone for our new direction, where we're going to go, and it's a helpful way to invite students back and kind of get a new group going and to do new traditions, new things. So that's going to be coming up shortly with a new name for the youth group, as well as some new goals and mottos and things like that. And then getting involved with local parachurch organizations and schools. Currently, I've been meeting with Carolyn from FCA, getting involved at the local schools in Montgomery and Hillsborough. And so within those schools, I'll be sharing testimony, I'll be involved with their Bible studies. There's a bunch of kids that go to that who maybe aren't in particularly church kids. And so it's a great opportunity to get involved there, as well as being involved with a baseball ministry with FCA as well. I'm working with a man named Kenneth Ridge. We're hopeful to get something started in the summertime to get some sort of baseball camp or program for kids to join as well. And parachurch organization also can include my association with Word of Life Bible Institute. They do a whole bunch of games, activities for kids, events. They do these things called reverbs, which is basically like an overnight event, something that we will hopefully get involved with. And they also offer resources for the leaders, for the youth leaders, and help in that direction. So those are kind of the overarching goals for 2023, kind of some things we're going to be looking towards. And so I'll leave it up to questions if there's any questions.
I've got a question then. So is it an update? So Katie and Delta doing okay? Doing well?
Yes,
All right.
they are doing good. Yes, she had a little bit of jaundice, so we were in the hospital for a little bit, but she's good now. She got her levels down, and Katie's doing well. She's still recovering, so she's not here today. She's still in quite a bit of pain, so I've been doing a lot, running around a lot. So again, I am pretty scatterbrained right now, but yeah, they're doing good.
Excellent. All right. Any questions for Noah? All right, go upstairs and see those youth. All right, so that brings us to the next part. You may remember, hopefully you opened them up, that we clicked on, we sent out the minutes from our past meeting. If you guys absolutely want a hard copy, there are a few in the back there. But I just first want to see if anyone's had any comments or changes to the minutes from our last congregational meeting back in October. It's always good 6 months later to ask for changes, right? All right. I want to make a motion then to see, does anyone want to make a motion to accept the minutes as drafted? And seconded? Seconded. Okay, great. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. So next, nominating committee. So I'm going to have Dennis and Dave pass out ballots, as you can see here. We have three people up this year. As you may know, the nominating committee, they serve for 2-year terms, so half go up each year. So this year we're having Chris Perkis as our deacon rep, Janet Restucia as our at-large rep, and Brian Smith as our trustee rep. And if they're elected in, they will join Will McKay and Carol Polizzi on the nominating committee. So as the guys pass out the ballots, to vote you have to be a member. So you please only submit it if you're a member. And then if you have questions what the nominating committee does, well, the nominating committee's job, right, is to go out there and both identify and encourage all of you to serve in church leadership, right? So pray for them, for the discernment to identify amongst you, in terms of where your spiritual gifts are and the best way to serve. But if you get approached, the Lord is probably putting that nominating committee in front of you for a reason. So please, you'll think about it and trust in the Lord, right? And a lot of times I was thrown in originally as like a trustee, and I can't like hammer anything. I can't do it, but the Lord works in you, right? And I found out I could at least count numbers very well, and so I enjoyed that aspect of the job. So again, but please keep this this group in prayer. So as those get passed out, we're now going to jump into the treasurer report, which is me. Actually, I'll stand up. Nancy can't be here tonight, so I guess that's the good news is you can definitely ask me questions. My answer will probably be I'm not sure. But what I do have for us, right? So we have a copy of our our financial report for the first quarter went out with the email. We also have a few copies in the back there. Roughly, how are we doing? Well, you're giving. We were down about $14,000, as you can see. In the first 3 months of the year, we took in about $200,000, which is about $14,000 below what we were hoping to get in. Although there was a pickup in giving in March, so hopefully that positive trend will continue. For the same period, our expenses were about $233, which basically means currently right now we're sitting at about a $24,000 deficit, right? So it's not insurmountable. I mean, the one thing, Lord has blessed this church over the years, and so we do have a cash in the bank for savings. So it's not a risk at all. But we really don't want to tap into those savings, right? We want to save those savings for when the Lord brings to us big opportunities, right? That we can then have the resources really to then go after them, right? So, I mean, look, we realize now is, things are so expensive, right? Anyone goes to shopping, right? Everything costs like twice as much as it did. So we understand, look, a lot of people obviously are struggling to try to make ends meet, right? But for those of you like who are doing okay, right? This might be a good opportunity maybe to see, look, maybe I can give a little bit more to my church family, so we won't have to tap in. I mean, obviously, this year is a little more expensive for the church than last year, right? We have a new staff member, we have Noah upstairs now working with our youth, right? Which is important, right? We want to make sure that obviously, this church has young people coming through it, right? That, but unfortunately, with that, brings costs. So I just wanted to mention to all of you, look, if you can give, more whatever, obviously, this church is certainly, putting to good work, growing God's kingdom here. You can see that from all of our outreaches, like our Easter egg hunts and our youth program growing. So, again, nothing too much to be concerned about. But again, we are still, running short this year. So that's the 30,000-foot view, really unfinancial, financial analysis. Any questions at all, though? I mean, but Nancy and I obviously talk a lot, so to follow up. But I can probably try to answer some questions. Yeah, Keith.
Not a question, just follow up for Adam.
Sure.
I looked at January through March, first quarter, and compared it to last year for the same quarter.
Yeah.
And then to 2019, because that was the last pre-COVID period. So compared to last year, we're up 16% in the general fund, up 7% in the missions fund. But if you look compared to 2019, we're down 11% in both categories.
It was what, 11% you said? Okay. So, yeah, thank you, Keith. For those of you online who couldn't hear, basically, Keith ran some year-to-year analysis to see how we were doing in previous years. And so we are doing better than the COVID years, which is good, but we're not doing quite as well as we were during the pre-COVID years. Okay. All right. No questions? Oh, sorry. Bruce?
On the second page, I see the big deficit in gas and electric.
Yep.
And I see the same for health insurance. Are those unanticipated expenses?
No, I mean, I think a lot of them have to do with really when the bills come in. So, so a lot of times, when you're dealing with a quarter, sometimes you make it an extra, a full half year, whatever, expenses. So I don't see it as being. Nancy didn't mention it's unusual at all. I think we saw it last year too, where the gas bill was high during the first quarter, but then at the end of the year, it was where we had pegged it to be. So no one. I don't think anyone has any concerns. Your Rich, the trustee, can come in up here too, but I think it's nothing unexpected. Yep. Okay. Any other questions? All right. If not, then we're going to start with the reports. You can bring them up. Yep, yeah, absolutely, Dennis. Yeah. And we'll bring Pastor Brian up. So again, the reports, you also got emailed out the annual report for last year. So if you want to see what all the boards did and so forth, you can read about it in that email, or there are some copies in the back if you want to read. So all right, we'll turn it over to Pastor Brian. He's going to give his report.
Thank you so much, Bill. And I want to thank Bill for leading us on the executive board and helping all of us to be in sync with one another, the various boards and committees of our church. So thank you for that, brother. Well, I just want to say by way of introduction that I am honored and blessed to be your pastor. And the reason why is because we have really neat people here. I know we're all sinners saved by grace, but you're pretty gracious people, and I'm thankful for that. But I also see it that we're a church on the move. I would be very disappointed if we were just resting on our laurels or living in the past, but we're looking forward. How can we read both the Bible and our culture? How do we know what we're like in this culture? And hence we have courses to help you grow as your own relationship with Christ. But then how do we reach out to a culture that's very quickly becoming secular or non-Christian? And so it's an uphill struggle in that, but we're trying really hard as leaders to present you with opportunities to grow and to keep on growing. I'm thankful for our leaders. I'm thankful for our teachers of all levels. We're really blessed with some gifted teachers that take the Word of God so seriously. I'm thankful for our music and the ability we have to bless many people. I tell Mark, nobody does Easter morning like we do. I mean, it's just majestic. I have to open my eyes to make sure I'm still on earth. It is that powerful when we get to worship together as a church family. And then our small groups are growing and our support groups are growing. Grief Share is just an area where people come in brokenhearted. One set of grandparents, their granddaughter committed suicide. And we're able to offer them hope, Christian hope, wonderful counseling through the videos. And then it's a side entrance to our church. One Grief Share participant is now coming on a regular basis, and one is on his way to coming on a regular basis. So we're very excited about that. So these are things that we do that are good things, that I think are God-honoring things, that we're able to add a youth pastor because of your generosity. The youth leadership team and the youth renovation team have worked hard all year to improve and bolster our youth ministry, so it's better for your children that you have children that are teenagers. You want a healthy youth group. You want a healthy children's program. You want every part of your church to be healthy so that people can come and be blessed because of it. So thank you for everything you do. Getting to my part of the report, just some things that I've been especially interested in, I wanted to highlight to you, is that the mentoring of pastoral staff and younger pastors. I've been doing this a couple of years now, and I'm excited to be able to mentor younger men. Two men that I previously mentored are both senior pastors in other churches doing great. And so we have Noah, who's 25, and Joel, who's in his early 40s, and an area pastor who's pretty new that I've started working with, and another man online. I really value that because the older should be teaching the younger. And I just see some really talented and faithful younger men that I'm very excited to be working with. work with area pastors. We were, if you remember, a while ago having community picnics with 5 other evangelical churches. And then, some things happened, pastors left, COVID hit. We want to get back to that. We want to get back to doing things together with other like-minded churches. We had the Good Friday service in which Tim Wolf and I were here, but we want to bring in other churches as well and do more things together. Youth group doing more things together, young adults, so that you get the idea that Kingdom of God is a lot bigger than Montgomery Evangelical Free Church. And so we really want to make that an effort this year. I'm on the security and safety team, I'll get it. So if you look out this way, you'll see that way. If you look out this, no, it is this way, sorry. If you look out this way, I'm backwards. You'll see an orange stake, an orange pole, not a stake, in the ground. That will be our meeting place in case of fire. And so you need to know there are 2 fire exits at the front. We don't want you running back into the building. We don't want you running for your children because the teachers are being trained into where to go and how to meet at that stake with your children. We're looking at security issues, like maybe we have locks on all the doors of the classroom. We don't now. We're looking at ways to make our church safer just because we want to be as safe as we can be. And I'm thankful to Rob Watson, who leads that committee, and Bob Brock for his expertise as a fire captain for many years. We want to expand our support groups. We're looking to re-offer divorce care. It's very tender, but it's necessary, people going through divorce. There's someone I have in mind I'm working with to take that. And also Tanya Robinson, who lives with chronic pain, is looking to start an online chronic pain Christian-based support group. And I think that will be a really good ministry for her. She's taking it very seriously. She's reading books on that, and that's really good. And then I'm really blessed to be part of the Municipal Alliance. It's a monthly meeting of community leaders where we look at problems in the community. And then there's another group called Community Leaders, which also meets monthly. And this is largely addressed to the problems in the school. And so the assistant or the assistant superintendent is there, and the sergeant of police is there, and the head of the guidance department's there, and I'm there, and another pastor is there, and we have representatives from the community that are very concerned about the school there. Sometimes the school pediatrician comes, the school psychiatrist. And so they're really concerned about the mental health of your children. They're actually offering a seminar, which I'll tell you about and post more on May 15th to 7 and 9. They have experts really coming and talking about mental health matters and the pressure on our kids today to be successful and what it's doing to our children. So that's been another part that I really enjoy. They value my input, which is a little surprising because of where we come from theologically, but I'm really pleased to be a part of that as well. Any questions for me or anything I didn't say, Mr. Chairman, that maybe I should have said?
Can you talk a little? Our church has been having a little bit of resurgence in terms of new membership, so maybe you could talk a little bit about that.
Thank you. I missed that. Thank you. Yeah, last pastor's welcome class, our membership class, Sunday night. Yeah, thanks, Bill. We had 10 people from 5 countries of origin, people from Belarus and Jamaica and Sri Lanka and the Philippines, and so they're really excited about our church. They're really excited. And if you've been here a while and maybe, church is church to you, you should come to a pastor's welcome class because they're really excited. I mean, they've been looking for a church like ours. I'm thrilled that they find all of us friendly, even though we don't all look alike and didn't have the same country of origin. They feel at home here. They feel their children are safe here. There's a place for their children to grow. Thankful for the children's ministry. And so we're attracting younger families again. For a while, we were starting to age out a little bit. We're getting younger families with children because, unfortunately, we're one of the only churches with critical mass that can offer children's programs like we do. But yeah, people are coming. They're very excited. We had 3 visitors here first service, Judy said. And so I'm excited about the excitement that new people and the quality of the new people that we have. They want a relationship with Christ. They don't want to just go to church on Sunday. So I'm excited about that. Thank you. That was an important point. I forgot that. Thank you. Any questions? I'm sorry.
I was going to say the same thing. Any other questions for Pastor Brian? All right. Well, the good news is Pastor Brian doesn't leave us just yet because he has to step in for Joel. Joel, who's on a much-deserved and needed vacation. So, but Brian's going to give Joel's report.
My notes. Joel has written extensive notes.
Shocking.
He's all in with that. I told him I was going to say, I want to thank Pastor Brian for making me the man I am today, but he didn't think that was necessary, so we'll just go from there, okay? So here's what he has. It is truly a blessing of God's grace to serve as your associate pastor of discipleship, given the essence of the Great Commission is making disciples. I often feel like there's no shortage of goals that could fall under my purview. That said, my top 5 priorities in 2023 are listed here. 1, complete my tenure as chair of the MEFC Youth Renovation Team. And again, that team has done a great job by finishing the youth renovation timeline that was given to us by ministry architects in June of 2022. Now that Noah has become our youth pastor, the responsibility of the youth renovation team to come alongside of him to create a sustainable youth ministry by completing the timeline ministry architects has given us. It's complete. The youth renovation team will continue to be a resource for Noah through the end of our calendar year 2023. Number 2, in partnership with MEFC Kids and MEFC Youth Ministry, establish and implement an integrated system for whole life discipleship, graded whole life discipleship. What do we think a third grader should be in the relationship with God? What about a junior higher? The second goal is aimed at making sure all of our discipleship structures and system for all ages cohere together. We want what Judy is doing with the kids to align well with what Noah is doing with the youth and what I am doing with the adults. We have already drafted up what this could be like and should finalize the initial chart or the initial goals by the end of the spring. Third, add a second level to our adult discipleship ministry in the fall of 2023. The idea here is to go deeper. While I continue to be excited about my 162 offerings each trimester, I aim to offer an option for those who desire to go deeper in their walk with Christ. Toward that end, this fall, MEFC will be introducing a second level of adult discipleship. The official name and details will be worked out in the coming weeks, so stay tuned for an announcement at some time in May. So you've known the Lord for a while and you understand things, but you want to go deeper. Joel is designing a class for people who have that desire. 4, relaunch MEFC Cares. This is the shepherding ministry that we had during COVID. We want to get back involved in making sure we're reaching everyone in the congregation, that no one feels like they're an island out there. And so he says MEFC Cares, originally launched in 2020, designed to give church leadership regular personal touch points with those in our congregation. Now, this is aimed especially for those who are not in a small group, but the idea here is we want everybody in a small group where they can minister to one another. Over about 2 years, the care teams at MEFC Cares would regularly reach out to roughly 200 MEFC attendees. And then number 5 is grow MEFC small group ministry by holding a small group launch campaign in the fall of 2023. Over the last several years, I've always listed a goal at these congregational meetings related to small group growth. However, various factors have made small group growth a challenge. However, I believe I am now in a position to grow MEFC small group ministry. Toward that end, I am pioneering a small group launch in the fall. If you have any questions about any of these goals or anything else, don't hesitate to reach out and ask Pastor Joel. Thank you for being such a fantastic church family.
I do have a question from your previous talk. I've got some text.
Oh, okay.
The support group.
I don't want to live in the past, Bill.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
I apologize.
All right, go ahead.
I got a comment that the support group is not for chronic pain, but for chronic illness and disabilities.
That's from Tanya.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Tanya. I'll get it right, okay? Sorry. I'm not too
Okay.
BRITE. I apologize. Okay, all right.
But people with chronic pain are still invited, but it's broadening it out, right?
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'll get it. All right. Past questions for Pastor Joel that I can answer? Okay.
Going once? All right.
Thank you, Pastor.
All right. All right. All right, Mark.
So Sonali and I just want to thank you for the privilege to work among you. It's been a long while that we've been here, and you truly have become our extended family, and we just appreciate you all so much. Music ministries have been going very well. The first goal I have is our corporate worship, and I'm continuing to evaluate more modern written worship songs and older worship songs so that we can use the best of everything in combination in our worship. And I just want to thank Nelson and Laura for leading the band. That just gives us another dimension in our worship, and they're so faithful, and we appreciate you and your talents and what that takes to keep that going too. Providing opportunities for groups to minister. So we continue to have a schedule of all of our concerts, not only for our church family, but for our community at large. Our biggest one every year is our Christmas musicale, and that reaches, just a wide variety of families from this community, but from other communities beyond this community as well. So we're excited to continue to do that. We have a full slate of fellowship events that I'm working on for the 2023-24 season, putting that calendar together. So we'll continue with those. We have a few things coming up that I'd like to highlight. One is our spring musicale, which is the second Sunday in June, which is kind of how we end our season, September through June season. So you're all invited to that. Hopefully we'll get that out in the community as well, and that can just be a great night of celebrating our great God. Then in June also we have our yearly, now that we're through COVID, family camp out once again at the fourth weekend in June, I believe it is, 23rd, 24th. So that's a Friday night. We pitch tents on the church property. We have dinner together. We have games and a movie. We have breakfast together. It's been a lot of fun, and so we're looking forward to that once again. And then we have music camp scheduled for July. The last few years we've had a little difficulty in getting interest. This year it seems to have picked up a bit more. We're still not quite where we need to be yet, but we're in a better position than we've been in the past couple of years. So that's scheduled for July, the week of July 10th through the 14th. So if you have any neighbors, any friends of your own kids that might be interested in that, we have some brochures in the back. You can get some information online. We'd love to have the kids come for that. Sam will be finishing its ministry season at the end of May, and that has been going very well. This past month, we had a couple of new faces that we hadn't seen this year, and we had one from, I think, Brian's contact at the municipal building, one of the, I think, admin assistants there. She came and she brought her mother, her elderly mother. So that was wonderful. She sat at a great table with Donna and I think Elaine was there, and a couple of other people, and they seemed to really connect. So we're hoping that, we get our foot in the door in the municipal building. Maybe Tammy starts talking to some of her friends there, and we can kind of put our tentacles out in the community that way, which would be wonderful. Did I hit everything that's up there? Okay, sure. All right. So does anybody have any questions for me?
I have a quick question then.
Yeah.
So, for one, thank you. I don't know if all of you have realized that Mark, in addition to obviously, running the music program here, also has been organizing all of our, inner, congregational activities, like the things he mentioned. So I think it's been great. He's been doing a great job there too. We have a lot more of these events occurring as bringing our congregation closer. One thing I was thinking about is in terms of the music, right? We have the congregation, we have the different music events, and obviously we're encouraged to invite people from the community in, and hopefully it's a way of connecting with the community. Is there also a way where we could maybe even, for those in the community, say, who want to play, right? And maybe we have some musicians that's kind of in the community, but there's no local symphony or whatever they can play in. And wondering if we could even offer something like that, where we could invite in and have a community, whatever, choir, community thing, as a way of trying to get people in the door, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I have not looked at that recently. Years ago, I did, and with the area that we're in, there are so many options for that.
Oh, there are, okay. Yeah.
Out there for community choirs and all that kind of stuff that that might be difficult to get something off. But I know the elders, the last meeting, began discussing trying to maybe use the orchestra or some facets of our music ministry more to invite people from outside the church to be able to participate in them and kind of make a connection that way. So I know that, we have more to discuss on that.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So almost like the youth group, where we're encouraging the youth to invite their friends in as an inroad. With all this music program we have here, it could be another great opportunity. Yeah. All right. Any other questions for Mark at all? All right. Thanks so much. All right. And Judy, come on up and tell us about all the great stuff you're doing with our little ones.
Thanks, Bill. In Matthew 19:14, Jesus says, "Let the little children come to me and do not hinder them, for to such belongs the kingdom of heaven." I think that's the goal, that we continue to not hinder children to come to Jesus, but we want to encourage them to come to Jesus. A couple of the goals that are up there are ones that I've repeated year after year. A couple new ones. The first one is assisting Pastor Joel with the plan he's working on, the whole life discipleship plan. That's been really exciting for me to see a plan to be in place so that children from birth through 18, we know where we're going with them. So it's a continuous progression, and that's really exciting. I also have been leading a 6-week book club with teachers. We're reading a book together called Show Them Jesus, Teaching the Gospel to Kids. The premise of the book is the gospel should be front and center every time you teach a lesson. And so we've been working together through that book, and it's really eye-opening for all of us. In June, we're going to be offering a Discipleship 101 class, Joel and I, for parents with ideas we're going to discuss about how to disciple kids at home. Joel is going to be the importance of how to, and I'm going to be the how to with ideas of resources. I'm still looking for new substitutes. That's a big goal for me, recruiting new substitutes. I'm also working through the child safety policy, making sure everyone is current on their background checks. I'm still keeping up the MEFC Facebook page where parents can go and get information and Christian programming for their kids. I would like to more intentionally this year guide the teachers by giving them resources that they can use in the classroom. And also, there's a new special needs committee that is being formed to assist parents and teachers, and I'm going to be working with them. VBS is coming up. That's the last week in July, and so I'm working with that as well. Any questions?
Yeah, good, Zach.
Excellent question, thank you. We have seen a few new kids in Sunday school, especially younger kids, which is really exciting. But Children's Church has really increased. Not really, we went from like 4 to like 8. So, I mean, we're doubled the number, and for kids coming, that's really exciting. And the families that are coming seem really committed to coming. So that's exciting. Thank you.
And Judy's so polite about asking for help, right? But I mean, you can never have enough help in the nursery and in the children's church and so forth, right? I mean, you don't really need to have a particular even liking for kids. The Lord will bless you, right? I still remember, like Karen and I, right? I mean, someone came, asked, said, look, help out. And we remember doing the flannel boards and this kind of stuff back then. And trust the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit will fill you with a love for these little guys, right? But look, I mean, think about it. If we want to have this church growing and thriving, we need to have kids in here, right? And to have kids, we need to have volunteers watching after those kids. So, everyone can, take a Sunday off every quarter and play with flannel with the little kids. It'll be fun.
One more quick thing I neglected to mention on here is I changed the kids club, which was midweek. It used to be Tuesday nights. I changed it to Wednesday nights to coincide with choir, and it's going really well. We have maybe 15 solid kids every week, and they stay right after choir, and it's been going really well. So that's been exciting too.
Ooh, the joint choir kid outreach. Mark, make a note. All right. Any other thoughts? All right, Judy, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. We'll now start hopping into the boards, board reports. We'll invite up Steve here to give the elder report.
Good morning. Well, the elders continue to get older, so by at least one metric, we're on a continuous improvement process.
Was that a goal from last year, so you're checking that one off?
Yes.
Nice.
The elders meet twice a month with the 4 pastoral staff members, and we dedicate the first meeting to the operations of the ministries of the church. So the ministries that pastors are involved with, some of the other ministries, we try to keep tabs on that and provide help where we can. The second meeting, we've started to focus on strategic planning, more of a long-term process in the second meeting. Throughout the last 6 months or so, we've decided to relook at the church calendar. Instead of, traditionally, we've looked at the calendar year. Oh, what are we going to do this calendar year? But it makes more sense to start looking at it starting in September, where we kick off with Rally Day through August. So we've kind of changed our mindset about how we're doing planning. So right now we're in the planning stages for September. A lot of new things. We've gone through the last few months, gone through our core values. There's 7 of them: unashamedly biblical, relentlessly worshipful, authentically relational, intentionally multi-generational, community embracing, sacrificially serving, and missionally driven. So we try to keep all of our projects and objectives to fit underneath those, guided by those principles. Our 10 strategic initiatives, which we've boiled down, we used to have 13, now there's 10, we combined a few. They range from building discipleship structures and systems to attracting and retaining diverse church family, carrying ministries to building future generations of Christian leaders, missions to building MEFC community and a better softball team.
Oh, hold on, quick plug. I'll give you first softball game tomorrow. We're playing a young team. We're going to need lots of players to chase their home runs. So right here at the church, 6 o'clock, be there, bring a glove, your cleats. Sorry.
Yeah, as the softball team ages, we need to sit out every few innings. So we need new recruits. So our priorities. What we do is a lot of work with the pastoral staff. So you've heard a lot of these threads through today. So you've heard about the discipleship programs from Joel's report. He mentioned it several times in several different ways. Even Judy's report about tightening up the children and all the way through adults. And then we're excited about the additional classes in September that Joel's working on. We want people to be challenged. So for many years we've had Sunday school, my 162 classes, where it's a lot of receiving. But we want to see classes where people have homework and books to read and to come with discussion questions already lined up. So we're excited to see that to allow some growth. And the diverse church family, that's, we want to figure out goals for each of the segments of the church to what can we do to help bring in young adults. That's where we're lacking in that demographic, and young families. And so we're cognizant of the imbalances between the generations, and we want goals, and we're developing goals to fix that this coming year. And then you heard about some of the care ministries. Pastor Brian mentioned several of them. In Joel's report, MEFC Cares falls under that umbrella, and there's a few other things that we're trying to do to tighten that up as well. As always, we invite you to email us or grab one of us and ask, why are we doing this? Or, there's almost always a reason behind something or some thinking behind something. So we'd be glad to share that with you and get you to understand our challenges and where we're headed. Are there any questions? Yes.
A couple years ago, the concept of rebranding the church has been kind of kicked around. Is that another road?
The name?
Yeah.
I think Bill can address that more.
Sure.
clearly.
Yeah. We did kick it around, and we decided just to put it on the back burner for now. We decided, look, we have other things we sort of want to focus on. A lot of people were, in favor of looking into it. There were still some people who weren't, and so it was like, maybe we decided at the executive board that maybe now is not the right time, and to maybe think about it and see what a church is in a year, 2 years down the road, and maybe reconsider it. But right now, yes, Peter, answer your question. No, we're not actively looking into that right now.
Any other questions? Yes.
So ministry architects did a full evaluation of the whole church, and found some, I don't know if issues is the right word, but kind of things like silos and things like that. Is the elder board that we've solved kind of the pastor problem? There's a 40-page analysis of the church. How are we targeting or trying to solve some of the other issues that were unveiled by ministry architects or those?
We've tackled a few of them. Some of it has to do with maybe you all don't know this, but Pastor Noah is reporting to Joel directly. Pastor Brian, everybody reports to him. But so Joel's working with Noah on a day-to-day basis, and he's trying to fold in the children's ministry. You saw, if you read through some of his bullet points and Judy's bullet points, you saw that there's an attention to the whole, nursery through youth. So that goes to the siloing effect. They're considering it as a bigger picture, and they had a meeting just recently with everybody involved in that whole process to kind of think through the steps. Does that answer all your questions?
There's other things too. So are we done with ministry architects?
No, we're with them until the end of the year. So 9 more months. 9 more months. It's mostly youth-centric, but there are principles that will apply to the whole church, and you'll see them spread into the thinking of how we view the whole church. Any other questions? All right. Thank you.
Great, thank you. All right. So I'm going to bring up Dennis here, just kind of give a quick overview. Our church does so much in terms of community outreach, so I just wanted to have Dennis come up and give a quick report in terms of what we've done and what we plan to be doing for the year.
Good morning. My talk really is in terms of getting people involved in outreach. I know a lot of you as members are already doing things, but we have a much larger congregation. In our reaching across the street, we've done a pretty good job. There are a couple, you can see some of the activities. These are our annual activities. We have the annual Easter egg hunt where I think we had close to, close to 350 that were registered. Unfortunately, with the weather, we were down to about 250. We do the fireworks, Montgomery fireworks, every year. And then Street Church Ministries is something that we share with the missions group, missions board, and twice a year we go and give them, offer a breakfast for the people that they minister there in Trenton. And then this year we're also going to share our praise band. They are going to be worshiping with them on Sunday. I guess it's the last Sunday in May. So it's an area that we can expand our reach. I think if you go to the second page, we've got Feed My Starving Children coming up again this year. It's an opportunity to reach out to the community to help have us pack over 100,000 meals that we distribute throughout the world to children. And we raise over $25,000 to pay for that, for the ingredients and also for the distribution. And then we also have the Christmas community event where we put on some type of program for the Christmas season, highlighting the birth of Jesus Christ, our Savior. What I wanted to use most of this time for is for you to take a look at some of the numbers. I totaled it up. There's over 700 families that we reach on a regular basis, on an annual basis. There's probably close to 1,000 children that we reach with these programs. What a wonderful opportunity to share the love of Jesus Christ. We've been given abilities, we've been given talents, we've been given skill sets, we've been given personalities. I have absolutely no math skill, but there are some of you that have that. There are other skills that you have that you've been given, and we've been asked and tasked as disciples of Jesus Christ to use those. There are a lot of opportunities to serve in these programs where you don't have to be up front, where you don't have to do anything special. You can join, and it's just a wonderful opportunity that this church has taken advantage of to reach out to the communities. And really what I just wanted to say is let's keep doing it. Let's keep inviting others in our church to participate so that we have the opportunity to grow here in Montgomery and the surrounding communities.
Thank you. Any questions for Dennis at all? All right, perfect. All right, Amanda. Oh.
Dennis has mentioned the church's support for ISI, correct? Giveaway, Christmas dinner, the flowers, and the side there last week. We appreciate that big initiative. They can always use some help.
There are. There's ISI. There is Faith Community Nursing, which puts on a number of programs for the community that we invite the community in on. And then there's, I know, there's a group that goes to nursing homes for singing on Sunday mornings. So there are a number of other programs that are being offered and then run here, and it's ISI is in conjunction with the missions board. Yeah, there's a lot of opportunities.
Great. All right, I'll invite Amanda up, and I'll give a word of warning for the future presenters. We're actually getting a little close, so I would say, short, but still take questions. I think questions are important. But and I'll email out the slides to everybody in case we don't cover everything. Go.
Okay. The deaconesses, as you can see from the report, we continue to do what we do and sending cards and meals and all that kind of thing to those of you who are struggling or have concerns or just need encouragement. But we are at a time of challenge. We have lost 2 members in the last 4 months. So now we are down to 8, which of course makes our year a little more difficult, is that we're stretched thinner throughout the year. We are persevering, however, but just one huge goal for the nominating committee and for us as well is to try and locate more women who would like to serve in this way. We definitely need more ladies to come forward. We have great growing diversity of cultures here at MEFC. I like to call us the Church of the Nations. Because as Brian mentioned before, we just have so many different cultures coming in. It's really exciting. So one thing that we want to do is to gain understanding as to how to minister to them. I have seen in the last few months, one woman who was of Indian descent needed meals, and we were going, what does she eat? Because it was basically she needed Indian food. So we watched the other Indian women of our church come forward and say, I can do it, I can do it, I can do it. That was so exciting for me to see. So we also need to learn how to kind of cook in different kinds of ways and that kind of thing so that we can come alongside better. Carol Polizzi is keeping a list on our Google Drive of former members and attenders who have contacted us for prayer. This is very, very important to us. We feel very privileged that people who have moved away are contacting us saying, I have cancer, please pray for me. So we are actually keeping a list on our Google Drive so that if we need to recontact them at any point, we can. We are continuing to look to come alongside the Mercy team that has been rebooted to visit those in rehab in the hospital or who are homebound. This is something very near and dear to my heart, as we do have several elderly people right now who cannot get out. So I'm very grateful to come alongside the Mercy team in that way. We need help with meal making. More and more, we are finding that people do need meals at home. And so I am going to be putting a list out on email this week, probably asking anybody in the church who is willing to do this to come alongside to help us. It doesn't mean that you have to do it all the time. It just means we know you're there and you're willing, and so we might call you and say, could you do a meal for so-and-so at any given time? So we want to reestablish that meal list. We also want to get the small groups involved. As you all, or perhaps are in a small group of 10 or 12, there might be a couple culinary aficionados in your small group who can say, I can help so-and-so, they're in my small group and I would love to do that. So that's another way we're looking to coordinate maybe with the small groups in helping us do that. So we are challenged. You can pray for us, please. As I said, we're down to 8. That's the smallest number that we've had since I've been on. Which is not a good sign for my leadership, probably. But you can just please pray for us and pray that more women would desire to come forward and help us with this. It is a wonderful ministry. I'm so very blessed to have the deaconesses on this board. They are wonderful, full of heart and full of love for you all. So, any questions for me? Yes, Bruce. Thank you. I appreciate your saying that. Anybody else?
Anyone else? All right, Amanda, thank you so much. All right, Bud, deacons.
Good morning, everyone. So I think most people know, but in case you don't know, we have every month we have a deacon fund collection, and that's on Communion Sunday. At the end of both services, we go in the back door. There's a deacon with a plate, and we do a deacon collection. And those funds go towards helping people in our church and people in the local community. And we end up buying gift cards, usually like ShopRite gift cards, or we'll help with finances for rent or home repairs, car repairs, that sort of thing. So we're able to be the hands and feet of Jesus to people. So there's a verse that says, 2 Corinthians 9:6, whoever sows sparingly will reap sparingly, but whoever sows generously will reap generously. And so I know I thought of that verse because that deacon fund collection, as a church, we have sown generously, and that enables us as deacons to reap generously. So it's just a blessing for us as deacons to do that, knowing that you sow generously. Verse 11 goes on to say, and through us, your generosity will result in thanksgiving to God. And we see that, weeks later we get calls back, letters back, cards back saying, thank you to us, sometimes with tears. We end up seeing people come to church as a result of that, and they're thanking us. But really the thanks belongs to you who give to those funds. So we just want to turn that around. So that makes me think of our first goal, which is, we want to regularly give those reports. When people give us Thanksgiving, we want to turn it around and give Thanksgiving to the congregation who gives. So we're going to try and do that. A couple weeks ago, Jim Turek did that, got up on a Sunday morning and gave a report. So we want to do that more regularly. Second one is we want to make ourselves more available. As you see, I'm wearing like a little tag. So we want to walk around with these before and after on Sunday morning so you can tell who we are. And that's so people here can come and approach us. That's if you have a need or if you know of others who have a need. A lot of our requests come from people not directly but indirectly. I have a neighbor who's going through a rough time, or I have a daughter, even not even locally, but we help people not too close by, but they know that they're in need. They need help with rent or something. So feel free to approach us. Look for the deacons who have the name tags. So we're going to do that more regularly. And the last is we have a pantry outside the front doors right there, and we've noticed that we want to start giving some of the funds to that cause to make sure the shelves are stocked. And it's a great cause. It lines up with what we do as deacons, so we want to support that. And a lot of times that's like a first step for people to approach the church and maybe come into the church or ask for, we're in greater need. So we want to support that. So that's our 3 goals for the year.
Great.
I don't know if there's questions.
Any questions for Bud and the Deacons Board? All right, thank you so much. We're going to invite up Rich to give the trustee report.
So the trustees have a rather extensive capital expenditure plan. We categorize items short-term, medium-term, long-term. So what you see in the list right now is short-term items that we're looking at for this year or possibly next year. The first item is storage drain system, and I'll just explain a little bit about that. The downspouts off the roof, the gutter system, on the east side of the church go underground to the detention basin, but on the west side of the church, they just go into the ground, and what results when we have a heavy rain is a very wet lawn on this side of the church. And so what we'd like to do is tie those downspouts into the underground system and have that drain to the detention basin. So that's a rather extensive project, kind of expensive, but it's something that we're looking at doing sometime. Let's see, the next item is the parking lot. You might have seen that we've done some crack filling in the parking lot, and then the next step is a seal coat and restriping. And provided that funds allow, we will be doing that probably in August when we have relatively few activities going on in the church, and we can have the parking lot clear for a few days. Next is the work day. We had a work day in March, and that was all inside activities. We did cleaning of woodwork, pews, windows, some carpeting, and the nursery were all cleaned. We would like to do an outside cleaning on June 3rd with a rain date of June 10th. We'll do some weeding and mulching. And I would just like to say that if you haven't been to a work day, it's really a good time to meet people that you might not otherwise meet, especially if you're not involved in ministries or other groups in the church. It's really a good time to get to know people.
So what are those dates again, Rich? I'm sorry.
June 10th, June 3rd is the work day with the rain date of June 10th.
Got it, okay.
Yep. And then the parsonage is also something that the trustees are responsible for upkeep of, and we recently replaced the refrigerator. We are looking at the driveway, possibly redo the driveway, and then the lawn needs some topsoil and seeding, and so we'll be looking at those items this year. Then just a couple items that are not on the slide. We are looking to replace a water heater for the kitchen. It's not failing at this point, but we want to keep on top of things to make sure that we don't have a leak that's unexpected. So it's getting toward the end of life for that water heater. We'll be doing that. And then we're also looking at the van situation. We have, one of our vans is a 2006 van, and we're just looking at the possibility of replacing that sometime in the next couple of years. Any questions?
Thank you so much, Rich. Oh, sorry, question in the back?
Yeah, I do remember that request, and it was looked at by the trustees for some time. Now, I was not on the trustee board a year for 2022. I think there was some reason why that was not going to be done, but I don't know the details. I don't know if anybody else here knows, but I don't know. There was some reason why it was not going to be done, but again, I was not involved at that time.
All right. Any other questions for Rich? All right. Amy, come on up and give us the good news about missions.
Hello, everyone. First, thank you very much for all of you, for supporting missions and our missionaries. We hear it time and time again when they come to visit. They couldn't do what they're doing, reaching people around the globe without your prayer support and your financial support. 3 main goals Missions Board has this year. First, to increase the direct participation of the church in missions. And that's an international trip, national trip, local support. As an example, we have a Reach Global trip scheduled to Kentucky for the week of October 15th. That's with Eric and Amy Couch. If you're interested, please see Debbie Nash. More information will be coming. And as Dennis already talked about, Street Church and ISI, lots of activities to help with them. They're constantly posted, so please participate. The next bullet, encourage the church's indirect participation. So that is prayerfully, financially, and physically. So we have a couple examples upcoming. We have a baby bottle campaign. We have missionary lunches like we did last week. And always check the e-tidings. There are always prayer requests in there from our missionaries that you can pray for them about. And then finally, promote awareness and importance of missions. And we'll continue to have missions moments. We'll keep you updated on our missionaries and what's going on with them, prayer needs, or exciting activities that they're, or exciting endeavors that they're having. And also any other creative ways we decide to come up with to keep you informed about missions. All right, any questions?
Any questions for Amy?
Nope.
All right.
Great.
All right, one last report. Report for the executive board. So basically, the executive board sort of discussed and have 3 main goals for this year. One is to fill the communication liaison role. It's been vacant now for about a year plus now. So basically, we've been working on Karen Catramatos has basically taken us upon most of the work in terms of investigating, creating a job description that's clearer as to what the role would be, and then obviously we'll hope then I'll have the nominating committee go out and find the person to fill that role. Second goal really is to try to start getting our congregation more partaking in our ministries. As you can see up there, less than half of our people in our congregation actually take part in our ministries. So I mean they come in for Sunday service, but that's it. So our goal is to get it on the other side of 50%, right? So you want to go up from, try to get from 45 to 56, which basically would mean, encouraging 20%, at least 20% of the people who really aren't right now taking part in ministries to do so. So we're going to be working with Pastor Joel to try to accomplish that and get you guys in there with the little kids, as we mentioned, or in music, or in other ministries that we have. And then third really is to also encourage and also particularly give thanks for the giving that all of you guys do, right? As you can probably see from our budget, right? It's expensive to run a church, but it's God's calling, right? So we want at least both to encourage and then also to thank. So basically, being more proactive in terms of communicating both the needs as well as the thanks, and to kind of show the congregation how the money is being utilized to grow God's kingdom. So that's going to be one of our goals, obviously, in working with Nancy and with Keith. So those are kind of our 3 goals that we have in above our normal day jobs in terms of the executive committee. So any questions at all for me? All right, going once. All right, so results of the voting. All unanimously, overwhelmingly passed. So Chris is right there, so raise your hand. So again, thank Chris, and when he comes to see you, listen. Brian back there, right, same thing. Thank you both for serving. And Janet is obviously, on vacation with Joel, but again, thank her when you see her for their service over the next few months, trying to identify and encourage you guys to serve in the church. So with that, let me just quickly close in prayer, and then we can get started with service. Dear Lord, again, we just thank you, Lord, for this time we had together today. We thank you for all your blessings of this church, as we could see from today. The church is growing, Lord, and we thank you for that. Continue to help us to lead new families here, Lord, so we can, again, just strengthen their relationship with you. So again, we thank you for all you do in this church. In Jesus' name we pray.